So Marcus's homeboy Gunna,
I don't know him.
Marcus's best friend and favorite rapper Gunna,
know him.
has recently copped a plea and made his way home, which I guess I'm glad he made it home, but there's been some question as to how he got home.
The fucking FBI is on speed dial, bro. Not a fucking tough guy. You people say things about snitching. I'm fucking snitching, bro. What are you talking about?
There's also been at least one other YSL signee who also copped the exact same plea, who went on and made a little Instagram story explaining how this is not snitching.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
The reason why he said so is because, did you see the video of Gunna?
I became affiliated with YSL around 2016. Is that true as it pertains to you, Mr. Kitchens?
Yes, ma'am.
YSL is a music label and a gang, and you have personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in furtherance of the gang.
Yes, ma'am.
You were present when law enforcement officers stopped a vehicle in which you were present along with Jeffrey Williams, wherein hydrocodone, methamphetamines, and a firearm were recovered. These items did not belong to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you acknowledge the following statement? I recognize, accept, and deeply regret that my talent and music indirectly furthered YSL the gang to the detriment of my community. YSL as a gang must end. Is that your statement or acknowledgement?
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, okay.
Yeah,
So
in
where he
court,
said,
yes.
they say you agree that YSL is a gang and that they should be stopped or something like that. So apparently the other guy said the exact same thing. And then he went on to the Instagram story to say that, like, yeah, like the starter of YSL said that it's a gang and it's not illegal to have a gang, which in the case of a Rico case, I guess doing the crimes to further the gang is the illegal part of it, not establishing a gang or a group of people.
Yeah.
That's just what he said.
We don't
You take that and
we don't have to get into the, because I don't, even if he, okay, let's act under the assumption that he snitched. How that's going to work is he's not going to stand out in front of a public courtroom and say everything that he has to say right there in front of the judge.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to extra explain the Alfred plea to me, fam. You don't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
What I know is that somebody got picked up on an organized crime charge, a RICO charge.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now somebody's going home after pleading guilty to said charge. Right? That doesn't happen unless you cooperate. Period. They brought him in to put him in jail. Well, maybe not him, but if he didn't cooperate, go to jail. That's what he's there to do. That's what they brought him there for. They did not bring him in on RICO charges to send him home for time served. Let me say it to you again. They did not bring somebody in on RICO charges to send them home with time served. There's no way to get out of the situation he's in without cooperating. Unless the prosecution fucked up or the cops that arrested him fucked up in some way, in which case we'd probably be looking at a mistrial. But what they not gonna do is send this man home free and clear with time served. Stop it. He did what he did so he can get out of jail. Good on him, whatever. It ain't my business. I wasn't involved in that shit. I'm just saying it is what it is. We don't have to lie. We ain't lie for Duke. We damn sure not about to lie for Buddy.
we're going to get into that in just a second. Also, Gunna's lawyer also said specifically, Gunna did not snitch to get out of jail.
Okay.
He has said nothing and is not cooperating. His plea statement cannot be used in court against any other defendant. So please stop spreading lies.
Did he go from a RICO charge to being released on his own reconnaissance after pleading guilty to said charge? Nobody's making sense of that for me. You haven't offered up any explanation to me that makes sense as to how you go from an organized crime charge, felony, to going home and you pled guilty. Is that what all that was for? Is that for what the manpower and the prosecution was for? all the taxpayer dollars were for, to get him to say he was wrong so he can go home? That's what you're trying to convince me? And he did, and they did all of that, and he gave them nothing. Without cooperation. They just decided that they didn't want him anymore and that he can go home. He's one of the good ones. They're not even offering up a reason as to why this went that. Okay, so all right, cool. He got time served and he's done after pleading guilty. Why did this happen? Why do you believe it happened? What happened? What happened?
That I don't know. Because at the end of the day, I would assume that they had some sort of case, and I guess I don't know what the case that they were.
They wouldn't have arrested him if they didn't have a case.
Right.
If they didn't have a concrete, solid case against both of them, Gunna and Thug, they wouldn't never have arrested him. They wouldn't have arrested him. It's a high-profile case. The scrutiny around this case is going to be immense. The eyeballs on this or around this case are going to be countless. They would not have made this dog and pony show and went in there and not had anything to charge these men on. To realistically convict them on. They wouldn't have done it. They wouldn't have made the spectacle of it if they didn't have it. They just needed a flip. Anybody seen Thug released? Why Thug couldn't cop no Alfred plea?
Well, he might.
And if he does, that just means there's a bigger fish at play. You don't arrest people on these type of charges not expecting to get a conviction. If you don't get a conviction, it's because you're going to somebody bigger. You're going after someone bigger. The only question now is, where does the buck stop?
Yeah.
Who stops talking first?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. And that's why I'm just like, I guess I don't know what they're going after.
Courtroom, watched Law and Order. Shit. Why would they just let this nigga go?
Yeah.
They're trying to pin murders and robberies on these men. Mm-hmm. Why the hell would they just let him go? Now you making excuses for somebody that you would have never given Rainbow Head. Ever. Never. You would have never given him this breath. So cut it out.
Well, speaking of which, he obviously had to get out some words about what's going on with Gunna. And especially considering Gunna has also been in a Crime Stoppers commercial, which that was forever ago, but whatever. Anyway, so yeah, obviously he came out and was just like, oh yeah, y'all did all this to me, and here goes Gunna out here fucking snitching. Him, Boosie has talked, bad about Gunna. Freddie Gibbs, it's got obviously the rap game in an uproar right now, and I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Thug.
Let me say this, man. Let me say this. I am in no way, shape, or form involved in no gang activity. I'm not even. It's not like that over here. 100%. What I can appreciate though is that as a man, you do certain stuff in life, right, wrong, or indifferent. You do it. Mm-hmm. You got to stand by it. Yep. At least that. At least, if you a man, you stand by the things that you do. Right. And if you doing dirt, you know what the consequences are. You living that life for real, like not just talking about it in raps, but you really doing it. You know what that is. Mm-hmm. You know what's at stake. You know what you risking.
Taking penitentiary chances.
Know it. Everybody in the room knows it. Nobody was forced to be there when nobody. Man, y'all running around with $250,000 chains on, $250,000 worth of jewelry on your body. Ain't nobody forcing you to do none of this shit. None of it. So when it's time to man up and take responsibility for yours and sit down because of it, I think a man would say, I gotta sit down. That's what a man would do. A boy tries to skirt his responsibilities and the things that he is responsible for off to somebody else so he doesn't have to bear the weight. And that's just all it is. I don't know how everybody else was raised, but when I do something, ain't nobody else responsible for that but me. Don't matter how much I was antagonized or encouraged to do anything. When you make a decision, you have to live with the consequences. So it just feels a little dirty that your get out of jail free card is blaming everything on somebody who probably allowed you and maturate was key to your maturation in whatever it is you was involved in.
But is it not possible that Gunna was signed to his label and didn't have any idea of what was going on with either Thug and the people he associated with, or whoever's hired?
But then he would have nothing to offer them and no reason to enter a plea.
Sure, but they arrested everybody who was associated with the label.
my thing, okay, if you weren't involved in any criminal activity, they can't tie you directly back to any crime, then why are you taking a plea? What are you taking a plea? They didn't name you as the kingpin. So the idea that all of the crimes committed within, you would have had to convince me that they was going to try to make Gunna the kingpin.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're the head, then everything that happens under your organizational umbrella goes to you. You get all the murder charges, you get all the robbery, all the extortion charges. That's how the kingpin statute works, right?
Right.
Okay. You're not the kingpin. They done already came out and told us they think it's Jeffrey. So if you wasn't involved in shit, you didn't see shit, you wasn't around when nothing happened, you didn't know shit, why are you copping a plea? They had just enough on him to make a problem for him that he didn't want, and he saw a way to get out of all of that. The Alfred plea is the cover. Now, y'all don't have no problems thinking nobody else lying, but a lawyer? Y'all got a problem thinking about that. Y'all have a problem conceiving the fact that a lawyer will lie, or that lawyers on opposing sides would lie to get to an amicable solution.
The other thing is, Gunna didn't say anybody's name, at least as of yet. 6ix9ine was out here saying literally everybody's name who didn't even have anything to do with the situation.
In court too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure they took a deposition from bro and it's sealed. Because the as long as the investigation is still going on, they don't have to release that shit to the public. If he said anything that has anything to do with the ongoing investigation, they don't have to release shit he said to them. Come on. Could have read these niggas a book and you wouldn't have known anything about it. So since they don't say it to you, it didn't happen. Since it didn't happen in front of your eyes in the courtroom, it didn't happen. So, sticking with that logic, don't you think they were able to count on that at some level? Don't you think the whole, let's do the Alfred plea in court in front of the public because they're not going to look too much further than that went into to how all of this was staged? The one thing that you cannot refute is that if this man broke a law of that stature, the last thing that he should expect to get without cooperating with the prosecution is a guilty plea and sent home after time served.
And probation.
Probation is not a typical outcome of a RICO charge.
Sure. You know? A lot of probation at that, though.
That only tells me he did enough for him to have them to have leverage over him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it could be. Yeah.
That's just what I'm just trying to use common sense, man. I'm not going for no fantastical, his lawyer was just so good she found some loophole that allowed him to be cleared of all charges.
Yeah.
Both of y'all go down for the same shit. You get out early, no jail time. You get to live probation, live your life. I'm still in here. It's not hard to do that math.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Give us your thoughts on the whole YSL situation, including Gunna's plea. Do you think he snitched, or you think he found a magical unicorn to ride out of jail on? Give us your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and come back next week for more videos.
Absolutely. And we have a video of when Thug got arrested originally. So make sure you check that out, see what we had to say about that. And then make sure you subscribe anytime we get any information as it pertains to this case and apparently other cases. We'll be sure to clue you in.